We're testing this here. Testing this just a little bit. Second. We get our chat here. And moving that up. Okay, good. We're ready to start soon. Thank you for joining me for this rebuild of a Motorcraft 2-barrel, also called an Autolite 2100. And yep, I need some music in the background. Oh, Nick just sent me a text. Be sure to mention on stream that the Delaware video premieres at 6 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. So tonight, Nick's going to have a new video coming out, and he's going to review the entire state of Delaware. So how do you like that? Where's my happy face? Happy face. There we go. Music, I need smooth jazz. Open new window, open new window, open new window. There it is. Jazz. Okay, I need to be able to see the chat. Move there. Move that there, move that there. I'm going to be stepping away from the computer. Now I'm here by the microphone. Tell me how the audio sounds. How's my audio? I can kind of see the chat from where I am. And it looks like my video feed is frozen. That's new. So do I have a frozen video feed? Ah, that's fun. Why did it do that? Audio good, video. Okay, we got video now. Excellent. So we're going to start. I apologize that the avatar here, my bird is not moving, but there's, until I find out a camera that I could put down here that could shine up at my face, that could make the avatar move a little bit. That would be I'd have to do that. I mean, like the head would follow me. So here's our rebuild kit. Here's our carburetor. This is Autolite 2100, also referred to as a Motorcraft 2-barrel. These were used in many different applications on Ford vehicles, from trucks to sedans, all kinds of different things. I believe they ran, some of them might even run some of the larger 6s. They have a opening in the top here, so they did not have to make, like, if this were a 4-barrel, you just have another bowl on this side, but this one doesn't. It just has one, and there it is. So what's going on with the Galaxy is that it's stumbling outside when you pull it away. Someone says Dominic says Ford and AMC. Okay, so they also use the 2100. So if I'm smart, I'm gonna go get some jars. Why are we getting jars? These are called the don't lose it jars. I kind of want to get the mic away from me a little bit. Can you still hear me okay? The don't lose it jars are for putting screws into them, so you what? You don't lose them. It's been a while since I did a carburetor. I suppose the last carburetor I did was the Edelbrock that we had on the Falcon. You should probably, Dominic says you should get one of those bolsters. I don't know what that means. I like that these screws are not fighting me so far. The body screws of the carburetor are not fighting me. Which maybe, I mean, this is a pretty clean looking carburetor. Alright, I'm just going to pop off. But I get all the screws for the top plate. I know I have my choke lever there. This camera should move up a little bit. Usually there's a spot for you to stick your screwdriver in and crack the top plate off. Not seeing it. But I have my little Springer spronger down here. My little clip to hold my choke lever in. There it is. Into the jar you go. Don't lose it. How about the choke lever itself? Oh, you're in there good, aren't you? Oh, my hands are getting wet. A little bit of fuel's coming out. Ah, the good old Motorcraft 2-barrel cracked emulsion tubes. Well, we'll find out. Bolster is a rubbery tray that holds bolts and lets you organize them by shape and such. You can put them into holes and match the pattern they came out from. Oh, yeah, that. Well, the good thing that we have is we have this on video. So if I really screw up, well, I can see where and how I screwed up. Can I just... No, that's on there. Is there some other screws down below I'm not seeing? Guess not. Alright. Let's get a little screwdriver in here and see if we can crack it. Crack our top plate off. No? Sure, I'm not missing any. I like it when they have those like horsepower TV shows. There we go. Got one side. I don't really have to worry about the gasket, right? Because I'm replacing it. Oh, you know what? Does that thing hold? Is that thing going all the way down in? Maybe it is. I need a wrench. I can hear you guys already. Oh no, no, don't use a vice grip. Don't use a vice grip on a carburetor. Brr! Guess what? I just used a vice grip on a carburetor. Yeah, that was probably it. Yeah, there it is. Okay, ooey gooey gasket. There's our top plate. Here's our top gasket. All papery and weird. Okay. It looks like this float was replaced. This is not the original brass float. Look at that. That looks like a plastic float to me. So someone rebuilt this carburetor in the past. Seeing a lot of brass fittings in here also look very shiny. I'm seeing a little bit of crud down in the bowl, but not a whole lot. But I need to get to those jets down there. before I do that, I'm going to dump this gas. Let's get some more light going. What are you going to be putting this carb on? Carb looks pretty clean. This is a carb that just came off of the new Ford Galaxy that I bought, but I didn't show yet, I didn't reveal yet. Ooh, that is bright. Well, we'll deal with the float bowl in a minute here. What year is the new Galaxy? I can't have the light shining at the camera. And even shining at me, it's blinding me at this point. Even with the little homemade diffuser. Turn that way down. Right, but then I can't see. I really got to have it back here. Which then I block. Can't really win. Lights above are as bright as they're going to get. Okay, righty tighty and lefty also tighty. This is fantastic. Oh, this light is great. It doesn't point down. It only points up. Okay. Well, then let's point it up then, and yeah, that helps a bit. Anyway, so Rocky LaRude says, "Hey, it's a burb, nice galaxies, and can't wait to see it." I can't wait to show it to you as well. Let's get our accelerator pumps out of here. This right here needs to be clear going through it. Feels clear. Yeah. How about this guy? What I'm doing is I'm inspecting these individual gaskets for rips in them. All these see, this one doesn't look bad either. It's just crunched. We're searching for a reason why the Galaxy is stumbling off idle, and searching for causes within this carburetor right now. Peter Buffer says, whoever rebuilt it just forgot to put the uniform fart spec. Oh, I thought you had actual advice. So where do I want to begin? Well, let's get some very thin needles and start dealing with the little tunnels inside our accelerator. Really what I should be using is guitar string, but I don't have any guitar string. So we will be using the thinnest sewing needles that I have. That one's pretty thin. Let's have a look at my little tunnels here in this CarBIRBrator. They looked a little plugged up here. Down here is where my accelerator jets come through. And stick the needle into the jets, or not really the jets, but place where the accelerator pumps the fuel out when you step on the gas to give you that little extra bump so it doesn't stall. These jet tubes seem clear. Now what I'm also going to do is take these outside and spray the carb cleaner through them. Well, I want to get down here to the jets, the main jets. I'm also operating the accelerator pump. Oh, Rocky LaRue says, how to do a carb clean with my EX500, and oh boy, best of luck with this. Got to go back and learn more about total losses. Yeah. Is your bike a total loss? I hate to think so. This gasket there is hard, but I don't see why it wouldn't be sealing. And the accelerator pump is pumping gas up through. So where's it pumping from? Is it over there? Up there? Definitely up there. Now I need to get this float out very carefully. And I think the way I do it is I lift this clip off, right? Do I pull the entire float directly up and out? No, that's not what I do there. Do I pull the clip around? Did a spring just shot through the debt ceiling? Oh yeah, the bike was done. I just started a new job. Oh, okay. Proper way to get the float out? I don't want to bend this clip. And that goes all the way around everything. Maybe it does just lift out. Huh? It's moving a little bit. All right, I'm at a little bit of a loss here. I'm not quite sure how that float comes out. There doesn't seem to be anything holding it in but just friction. I wonder if I literally just yank it. No, I'm not reaching for my vice grips. What on earth is holding that in? Is it just the other side of that spring down there? That pops out? And that feels like it's under quite a bit of tension. Nush asked me if I rebuilt a carburetor before, and I said many times. But it's always the tiniest thing that flummoxes you a little bit. Oh, there it went, click. All right, there's our float assembly, and look at that. That is definitely a modern plastic float. Very cool. How's our little float needle? Needle's in good shape. Place that over here. Now, to the heart of the matter. My jets. Only 2 of them. I need a bigger screwdriver to get at them. Actually a pretty flat one at that. Used to be another, there we go. Oh, this screwdriver still isn't good enough. How big of a screwdriver do I need? Is this a big enough screwdriver for you? Weird thing is, the right size. Okay, this is the bit I have to be careful. On these old cars, your fuel that comes in and drives them comes through these 2 little jets down here. There's one. There's the other one. They have flat head slots on the top. And that's what I need to get out. And make sure they're clear. Oh, slipped. Yep, there's one click. Let's click the other one out. Very good. We're going to undo right side first. There it is. Little jet. What number is this? 55. 55 size. Need the tiniest bit of light to shine through this. And I'm running the needle through this to try to clear out any varnished gas that's in there. Oh, that opened up quite a bit. I hope this was my problem. I don't see any gunk on my needle right here. I do see some corrosion on the bottom. So spraying everything out here. So we got 55 on the right side. What side is on the left side? Do they run in tandem? Our other jet is also a 55. And I am getting gas in my bandage. No, this one doesn't seem so bad. You can almost see through it. There. Yeah, that one isn't really clogged. Or at least doesn't appear to be clogged. If you put bigger sized jets in a car, it gets more fuel. Then you need more air. So that's part of carburetor tuning, which we're not doing here. We're just doing a basic service. At this point in the disassembly, what I'd be doing is I'd be spraying this down with carburetor cleaner really good and thick. But since I'm on camera and inside, I'm not going to spray carb cleaner around in here. I'll never get the smell out. Also, it stains and destroys nearly everything it touches. The pump seems to be working just fine. It just isn't spraying a mist. Now I wonder when the jets, the fuel goes this way through the jet. So the path of the fuel goes down. It goes this. A float bowl inside a carburetor is like a very small fuel tank that sits right above the engine. So this will be filled up usually about maybe halfway with gas that is pumped into it. The float bowl of a carburetor sits within, and it literally is like the little ball that's in the ball plunger that's inside your toilet that tells it to stop filling up. Exact same principle. The negative pressure of your pistons going down creates a vacuum inside the intake manifold, which then pulls fuel through those metering jets, which tells how much fuel goes through. It then travels down, back up again, and into, let's just call these the shower heads, which are really venturis. As the air goes through these, the fuel is drawn into them and creates a mist that goes down, atomizes. The finer the mist, the better. But I'm trying to find out where the stumbling is coming from. So I may just take a break here for a little bit and spray this out, really. But also really what I should do is I should get rid of the excess gasket here that's on the outside of the car. I'm going to use a razor for it. Carefully, of course, because these carburetors are made from soft aluminum. Obviously making sure the extra bits of paper of what the gasket is made from are not falling into the carburetor bowl. Okay. I believe this is a ball weight that goes in the middle of my Venturis, down in the middle hole right here. Regular V-tuber arc. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Definitely worth shooting. A bird fixes a carb. Very cute. Oh, thank you. Oh, there you are. Look at you. Little marble. I like that. That goes right there in the middle. That is the check valve for the accelerator pump. And this little piece of brass is just a weight that holds it down, and it just kind of sits in there. Can't lose that. Goes right there. These two screws here are idle adjustment screws. The car is idling fine, so we're not gonna bother with them. This is your throttle, and these are your butterfly valves that open and close. This is the bit that moves when you step on the gas. And the accelerator pump itself, you can see here, moves up and down when you open the throttle or step on the gas. Let's take a look at the power valve right here. And see if there's any crud going on in there. Hey! We're going to put our screws for the power valve over here in the other don't lose it jar. Life of Black said, feed burb. Yeah, I'm always hungry. I can always eat. Baz says, need a button to pet the bird. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be a cool, like, super chat thing to do. Someone else said, feed it seed. Well, I do like nuts. Ooh, that seems kind of stuck. There it is. Okay, power valve gasket. Looks fine. A little bit of crud in there, a little bit of goo. How about the power valve itself? Ooh, is this a wrench? Do I need a... Don't use a vice grip on a carburetor. What are you doing? Yeah, well, I'm doing it. That thing looks pretty clean as well. all these little valves and passages. Yeah, there's no cracks in that. It's opening and closing. Gasket in there. I mean, there is varnish like on a lot of this stuff, but let's take a look at the supplied power valve that came in our kit here. Now this power valve is marked K57. The one supplied in our kit is marked also 27. Seven seven, and this is 27. There is a difference in these two power valves. The one that was in the carburetor has more coils on the spring, and there's more resistance than the power valve that was supplied in the kit. So I don't know what difference that's going to make. That means something, because each of these carburetors were made for different cars. This, of course, is made for a Galaxy. So different cars would have different operations. Now, these gaskets are all nicely seated too. You can't really disassemble these power valves. Although the new one is moving freely. Do I take a chance and just put the new one in? I need the gasket for the power valve. I don't really feel like recycling it. Neat, this is something that mine didn't have. The gasket that goes around the air cleaner. I don't know how good that one does. Base gasket, this is for the electronic choke. Base gasket, top gasket. There we go. We got that one. And we got this one right here. Well, for funsies, boy, that is on there, isn't it? There she comes. Nice and easy. A little bit of crud. So really, what I could do is I could just get some Q-tips and some carb cleaner in another glass and just do it that way without stinking up my apartment. The Verve said that you'd spray down the old one and just reuse it. Yeah, I kind of like that idea. I'm going to go get some carb cleaner and a little shot glass. Alright, before we do this, we need Q-tips. We'd slip a holly on it in this episode of This Old Carb, on this episode of Engine Masters, Hunt the Hound. They're great once you learn more about them, experience with them. I'm weird and prefer carbs over EFI. I'm the exact opposite. Eventually this galaxy will get the Holly Sniper EFI 2-barrel because carbs are freaking silly, but that's a month away. And I want to prove to myself that I can still do this. Nope. Get it away from the camera. Over here. There you go. Now normally if we'd be outside, I'd just be sending that carb cleaner all over everything. But since we're inside, I'm just cleaning stuff out with a Q-tip now. Where's my trash can? So our suggestion is to just clean the old one, clean the old power valve, and put it back in. Pretty clean there. Something, Ruff says, mine came with a 289 factory, but someone put a Windsor 302 in it later. Okay. Smarter Every Day did a whole video that explains how carburetors work. Pretty interesting. Yeah, it's a way to atomize and mix fuel when you don't have a computer. Or really before EFI, before computers. It's a very fancy ladies' perfume sprayer. Alright, so that gasket goes. This is our, yeah, don't want a double gasket. Tie up the old gasket around the power valve. Which, honestly looked fine. I know the contemporary rule is that every time you do this, you replace every single gasket, and that's true for the ones that you rip, like this. But half the time, I mean, if you're doing this for a client, then yes, you don't reuse anything. You put all new stuff in, but typically if the gasket isn't ripped and it's not all smudged and destroyed, and if you can verify the last rebuild was recent and the car was taken care of, it's pretty much fine. But we'll put a new one in here anyway. Okay, old power valve going back in with a new gasket. And just being real gentle here. Now, do I want to mess with the accelerator pump? I know I want to clean this bolt, this screw right here. Don't know if this is a breather or not. I forget what this is on the top of the accelerator pump. Donna says morning. Multiple errors says morning, lads. So the throttle body injectors. So throttle body injectors was just a carb with a little spray on top of it, negative. Throttle body fuel injection is different than this. Throttle body fuel injection relies on positive fuel pressure, while carburetors run off of negative fuel pressure. They suck, they don't blow. Everything that a carburetor does relies on the pistons themselves going down to create a sucking motion to suck the fuel through it. Fuel injectors don't need the piston to inject fuel because the fuel pump on a carburetor is only 7 psi. What's the fuel pressure on a fuel injected engine? 25, 30, 40, 50, 150? I don't know. Somebody answer. Like what is? I've never operated a fuel injected car that had a fuel pressure gauge on it. This gasket looks a little crusty right here. And it looks like there's another check valve in here. Indeed there is. Look at that. To think that all the measurements and stuff for fuel in carburetors are done with like little marbles. And you want to talk analog, this is analog. Maybe I can spray just a little bit in here, not going to hurt anything. There. Now there certainly is a lot of excess gas on the outside of the carburetor here. Or is that oil? It's oil, I don't care. If this is old gas, that might be a clue that something's up. Someone just freaked out because they saw me shove a Q-tip down inside the carburetor. Like, no, it's all going to get in there. Well, maybe it will. Depends on the car. 30 to 75 is usually direct injection. Okay, so if it's direct injection, it's over 300. Gotcha. So let's get through our kit here and find another little, there you are. Another little gasket for, I don't even know what this is. I claim to be an expert. All I know is that this is the same gasket that goes on whatever. I'm sure this is some sort of another metering screw here for the fuel, for the accelerator pump. There's also shaft gaskets that are often overlooked. But when I got the can of carb cleaner and ran the car and sprayed the carb cleaner all around the car, or sprayed the carburetor cleaner all around the carburetor while the engine was running, I didn't hear any difference in the way the car was running. So it leads me to believe there's no excess leaks in the carburetor itself, which is me trying to justify not disassembling this down all the way and getting to the little seals within the, oh, how about I put the cover back on the power valve? That's a good idea, right? Shaft gaskets would be a terrific name for a band of condoms. Shaft gaskets, yeah. Sort of AutoZone. I've been picking up more hikers. I woke up today to pick up either a husband and wife or an older husband and or an older man and an older wife from the Bismarck B&B in Hamburg, took them back to Fort Clinton. We got to talking on the way about how treacherous the Appalachian Trail descent is into Fort Clinton, Pennsylvania. And it's one of those, someone should do something. And me, being the cynical person I am, said, look, how are you going to convince the ATC or the Pennsylvania Gaming Commission to spend a bunch of money to try to make a hiking trail safer for people who don't hunt and for people who are out of state, who don't vote, who have nothing to do with the budget? And she said, well, you do an audit and this, that, and the other. And me always thinking about looking at things from a freakish capitalist perspective, I kind of want to tighten these all enough so the screws are all pointed in the same direction. I think that's enough. Never want to tighten these things too much. Yeah, I really should just have a look at the front end of the power valve. That way I can just cross that off as not a problem. How do I get this clip off down here? Is this a one-time use clip? Is this a bigger screwdriver clip? Oh boy. Shaft gaskets. Oh, they're still. No one really said anything. I wonder if this is one of those clips that once you put it on, you break it, and then you have to put a new one. I see the new one in there. I suppose I could just wreck the thing like that. I'm going to just put a new one on. There. That's the lever for our accelerator pump. Hey, it's Russell Park saying he's riveted. Yes. Now these, whoa, okay. These are barely in there. Well, aren't we glad we decided to not skip on the front end of the accelerator pump? These are barely in there. Huh. Okay. I didn't have another run-in with Steve. Steve is another older man who helps, quote unquote, with the Appalachian Trail. I've told the story about Steve before. He's a poor old man with dementia whose brother has power of attorney over him, but Steve still has his driver's license, but drives like an absolute maniac. Okay, so here's our other end of the power. Okay, that is in good condition, so is that. Ooh, this is worn a bit. Not this, but our little piston here inside the power valve pump, that's got some wear on it, doesn't it? Let's give that a little bath in the carb cleaner. Have another gander at it. Yeah, there's some nicks in that, isn't that? So if this thing was rebuilt, this little shaft wasn't replaced. Well, we're going to do that right now with a new one. Where am I going to put it? Put it in the circle there, over there, by a gasket that's not really necessary. So we've got your little Springer inside the Inside the valve here looks good. Probably because we sprayed the carburetor cleaning it in already. Lancer Grant says a guy with dementia can still legally drive. That sounds really suspicious. It does. Because, like, he didn't do anything to lose his license. You know, you can have dementia and not be diagnosed with it. And as long as you come in and get your driver's license renewed, there is no tests. So, you know, he's just gonna, what's gonna happen is he's gonna either have an accident, and there may or may not be a hiker in the car when he does finally have his big accident. And will he take a hiker with him? Paul says lots of states don't really like taking driver's licenses away, mostly because, yeah, if they take your license away, this person's going to vote you out of office. Well put. Definitely well put. Okay. Let's get our new shaft, our new pumping shaft, out of our baggie here. Look at that. Shiny new pumping shaft. Into the accelerator pump it goes. And now, this is the other valve for it. Not in bad shape. Oh, there is some cracking in it. Definitely some cracking in it. So, that's our old one. This is our new one. Old one, you're in the trash. There's our new one. And that's our old gasket for the back of the power valve. Don't need that. And here's our gasket for the top of the accelerator pump. This gets seated in there. Yeah. Now this is a little tricky. I may need... Uh-oh, I dropped it. Oh, it didn't disappear. Awesome. So, my job is to... Wait, that gasket doesn't belong there, does it? No, it does not. This gasket belongs here, on top of the accelerator pump, or the pumping arm, I should say. Alpaca 11 says, dude, you should go to Philadelphia. That's pretty funny. I've been there twice. If you were there last year, you saw me. I plan to get this Galaxy in shape enough to drive it to Philadelphia this year. Okay. Does it really go that way, or does it go this way? Yeah, it goes that way. Right? Do we need to rewind this video? Was this like this? Or was it like this? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Which way did this go in? I'm pretty sure it was this way. Do I guess? Or do I know? No, it had to be this way. Because when it pumps in, right? Or does it seat this way? Both seem correct. Okay. We need to find a schematic for, are there any witness marks on the surface? That's a good question. Well, looking at the old one, which the old one has a burn here on this side, which is consistent with probably the spring stretching on it. And there's more crud on the outside. Ah, yep, witness marks. We see the flower version of this gasket pressing on top of this side, which means it goes that way. Good work, everybody. Let's call this real coffee. So now here's the fun bit. This all gets to go on all together now. Oh, actually, this may not be that hard. Get one in. Get another one in. That one isn't taking. Come on there, bud. Find your hole. Phil Bellator says, I rewound the video to another scene to the point where you took it off. The button is facing the lever. Huh? The button is facing the lever. Really? Okay. Well, which part do you mean the button? Is this side the button? Or is that side the button? I'm going to look at a schematic. I need to wash my hands before I touch the computer. Okay. The side with the bigger metal bit. Pause this music. Auto Light 2100 schematic. Alright, you're right. I'm looking at the schematic. And the button definitely is facing the pumper. Thank you. Double verified. Glad we caught that. K1 says no furry merch in your house. You hide your power level well. Yeah, no sense making it complicated for people who come to visit. Someone says, I saw an Isuzu car the other day. It's like an AutoZam. Okay. Okay, so they say it goes the other way. Schematic says it goes this way. You know, it certainly popped into place pretty quick. All right. Someone says no the other way. Are we just going to keep going back and forth with the accelerator pump diaphragm here? Hey dude, love your vest. Thank you, Mr. Duke. Let's say Raoul Duke, just like Hunter S. Thompson. If so, respect. Yeah, you know what? That bounces back a lot better. That feels like it's honestly pumping in there. Awesome. Now that we have an accelerator pump that's honestly shoving fuel, then maybe, like every time we replace something, I'm like, I hope this solved the stumbling. I also hope I didn't align the gasket the wrong way. This screw doesn't seem like it wants to take the threads. There it goes. Someone says, I asked this, and I apologize, the chat is very far from here. I ask you this every time in hopes you do reply. Do you know you have a VR chat avatar of yourself? Yes, I do, because I paid for it. And there, my light went out. Battery went dead on that. I'm just going to get snap. This thing hold on to that. Is that too heavy? That's made of plastic. We've got a hook on here. So what was I looking at that I needed the light for? I guess I didn't. I just wanted more light. Something happened. This is why I just keep plugging OBD2 reader and letting me tell it what's wrong. Yeah, a computer-controlled engine and fuel management system is indefinitely better than carburation. People who like carburation have a strange obsession with idealized good times. These things are fun in an adult Lego kind of way. And people like to say that, well, you know, after the apocalypse, when your computers don't work, then what carburetors will still work. Yes, carburetors will still work, but carburetors only work because there's a working infrastructure of endless rebuild kits that keep these things running, with SKU numbers and stuff that allows you to go buy them and have a rebuild kit where everything's perfect. If the apocalypse happens, we have a lot more heavier stuff to worry about. than finicky old carburetors that if you get crud in them, they stop working. One sec, I'm going to spray this outside. My hands are going to be so chapped tonight. Yeah, this is good. Let's take the paper towel that I was using to dry my hands and just clean out the carb float bowl with it. What else can we do here? We've got all these gaskets. Oh, good luck operating a gas pump that requires electricity to operate. Yeah, exactly. I almost want to take this thing, right back to put it back in the car and hope we got everything here. Maybe since I have these extra balls in here, I should replace the balls as well. Now, as long as we're here, let's have a look at the choke. These screws have been nice and mangled. I don't really want to. Choke is honestly working fine. This is one of those, if it's not broke, don't fix it things. How about these breathers? And there's a lot of pitting going on down here. There are so many little holes in carburetors. Half of the technology in here is just to make the damn thing idle correctly. To try to get the perfect amount of fuel in. And of course we're ooh, how about those guys right there? Those, seeing more holes. Are you ever going to do an RCR at Hershey, at the Hershey Museum? Do you think they'd like me? Like, just me saying dumb stuff at the Hershey Museum? To be honest, Hershey, like, going to car museums is not fun for me. Because oh, you know what? The gasket here on the choke is kind of crushed, which I may have done. Alright, Where's my gasket for the choke? That might be it. No, that's the base gasket for the choke. All right. We're going deeper. Let's take this thing off, because I saw I ripped something. Because, like, when I go to museums, it's like, can I drive the car? Oh, I can't drive the car. Can I sit in it at least? Oh, you can't sit in it. I'm going to go home. That's how I feel about car museums. I guess a while ago I was excited for car museums. But doing this YouTube channel spoiled me. Tyler asked my opinions on an E39 525. BMWs I am not emotional over. E30s I am, but the E39, I mean, what are you going to do, just cruise around in it? If you have other friends who are in the BMWs, I guess sure. My usual response is, as long as either you or a mechanic in the area knows how to work on them, then fine. But I wouldn't rely on a BMW as your daily driver under any circumstances. Silly Mouse says you can sit in a few cars in it, like $10 you get in, and a huge Tucker collection. Okay. Taking apart our electronic choke. There's a Springer in there. Works the same as an old-time thermostat. In reality, this is all this is. Here's this. Ooh, that is a really old gasket. Choke lever there is fine. There's our little stop screw. Fine. So, honestly, the modern ones, I think they just go like this. Right? Just clip in like yay. And there's, maybe not. Maybe that's for a manual choke. No? Huh. Interesting. Ah, there you are. There's our gasket. Are these? Riveting stuff, I know. There's our little marks. Just gonna leave it there for now. There's our retention. Let's go the other way. It says, you know what I'm thinking? An EV would be the perfect apocalypse vehicle because if anything can be converted to electricity, solar, gasoline, propane, etc., as long as you have it and shielded from an EMP. True to that. And it's like, well, you're just going to wait forever to just get electricity from the sun? That'll take months. And it's like, well, yeah. But you'll be able to get it, won't you? As opposed to scrounging for distilled petroleum, of which there is now a crazy limited supply. I mean, that's kind of where it ends in all Mad Max sort of situations, is that someone figures out solar power, or really, they would become water-powered cars, wouldn't they? Because all you need There's a bunch of copper and magnets and a water wheel. Congratulations, you're making electricity. So that's probably what happens. Geothermal, yeah. Andre asks, what are we doing today? Just joined and I see a Birdman, Mr. Regular, and a CarBIRBrator. Yes, this is CarBIRBrator reviews. Or rather, rebuilding or replacing a whole bunch of stuff in a Motorcraft 2-barrel carburetor, also known as the Autolite 2100, for Project Crazy Taxi. Or rather, this is a stopgap just to get it running well enough before we put a Holly Sniper EFI system in it. Alright, there's our choke rebuilt. This I want to spray out. So this is our Misty sprayers. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to spray this outside. There's that clean. I'm going to take my jets and spray them out too. One of the things with working with carb cleaner like this, your hands get so freaking dry. They're already starting to crack. So Tyler says I shouldn't be high right now. Yeah, well, this gets you high too. I'm going to go wash my hands and then cover them with O'Keeffe's working hands just to get some of the moisture back in them. All right. Use too much, you'll wipe them down. Andrew Smith says, one time I worked at a greenhouse planting. My hands became permanently dirty. Still are. Damn. Alrighty, let's get a new gasket on this boy. And then maybe this will be enough. And I'll head out to the garage and put it back on the car. Now where are you? There you are. Okay, we also need our ball. You know, I paid for new balls, so I should put new balls in put new check balls in. Where are you? It's Marble Madness in here. Throw away the old balls, put in the new. Check ball weight on top of it. I'll just align my gasket down on top of the check ball weight. A little tricky there. Or were you not the right size? You better be the right size. Huh? Oh, look at that. Look at that. What do you see that's different? This is the old one. This is the new one. Should be a little cut right here. So are we reusing the old one, or in this kit somewhere is there a different size? I mean, I could get out my razor and cut the new one. Yeah. All right. So let's get a little pencil here. Let's make a mark. Actually, pencil might not be a good idea. You don't want graphite down inside the carburetor. Let's just make a mark here with our razor. Very carefully saw off a bit of the new gasket to get over that hump. Is that close enough? Do I get a little wiggle room? No. Gasket's almost a little too wide as well on the corners. Huh. What do you think? Reuse the old one? Put this new one in there that's just a little bit the wrong size. Gosh, this old one's crusty as shit. Yeah, the new one's just a little bit too big. Unless we just jam it down in there and... Well, you know what? This one doesn't even have mounting screws. It just sits in there, doesn't it? Wait, what holds these things in? Anything? Does anything hold the... Is it just the lid that holds the Venturis on? Go with the new, keep the old, see how it runs. Okay. I'm just going to shave a little bit of the tips off the ends of the new one. Clearance it just a little bit. Ugh. I should really be using a scissors for this. You know what? Even better. Toenail clippers. Oh, look at that. It's like it was made for doing something like this. Yeah, that sits in there much better now. Well, not really. Not really. It's covering up. This is some redneck engineering right now. Just clearancing the ends so that one passageway can breathe properly. Ooh, that's even worse. One's perfectly lined up and the other just isn't. Toenail clippers, great special tool to keep in your toolbox. For sure, we're learning that today. Alright, that is kind of. I may have traded one problem for another. Not sure. Well, guess we're rolling with it. Let's get these jets back in here. I keep plastic straws, toothpicks, tampons, long story, and toenail clippers in my toolbox. Gordy Ramsey says, we have Adler at home, the Adler at home. Oh, right, yeah. Everybody wants Adler the Eagle. But today you just get regular bird. It's not even remotely Adler. Gordy Rumsey says, explain the bird. I will not. It's going to take a lot of money for me to explain the bird. There is, oh wait, that's the bottom of the pump that we installed. All right. I was wondering what that was down there. Okay, jets going back in. There's one. The other one's a little stiff going in. There it sat. Let's get our float assembly. You know what? If this thing came with a new needle plunger, I'm going to put that one in there too. Why not? I paid for it. There it is. You know what? It came with a whole new job or do. As well as that. Oh, can't even use it. Denied. That's a different kind of metering valve than I've ever seen. I used to have a whole set of pliers in here that were my house pliers. Yeah. And here I am using a pair of wire cutters because I'm too lazy to go outside and just get a wrench socket. All right, I'm gonna break this loose outside. I gotta go to the garage and get a socket just to break that loose. What we're doing is this guy right there. Now it should have a slot on top of it just to do it with a screwdriver, but it doesn't. It just has a letterfox is the bird your fursona. Yeah, that's what it is. Feels like I'm watching a live stream of a surgeon operating. So I need a socket just to bust that guy loose. I need to go outside. I'm back. Thank you for waiting. It's very inconvenient when they go reassemble the carburetor and where's my key? There it is. When they use this, this type of fuel metering, can't really call it a jet, as opposed to what it should have. This is the new one. Should have this with a flat head screw top on it. See the difference? Old one, new one, old one. But you know what? These are also different. These different sizes. Is the hole on the new one smaller? Well, no. But then this doesn't really have anything to do with the metering of the fuel in the engine. It just has to do with filling the float bowl. So. And since the only rubber bit on this new float assembly is the needle, then that's what we're going to be replacing. This is the plunger, and this is the new one. Regular and Roman, go to rain first. I thought that was the one that got shut down. Am I remembering correctly? Like, my deal with going on vacations is it has to be related to RCR. I have to be making content in one way or another. Because that's the way, as unsexy as it sounds, the business makes money. And how I can continue to afford to live. I'm going to save the old metering float bowl valve, I guess you can say, because there seems to be an extra passage on the new one. So this fits into that and plugs the hole of when plugs the force of fuel reaching into the or being pushed up by the manual pump. So the very last thing here is to find that spring that holds the pump assembly to the metering, sort of metering jet. I'm going to keep calling it a jet even though it's not a jet. Gordon Rumsey says a crazy tactically replica at a convention would go hard as fuck. I hope it does. That's the plan. Get eyeballs on the car. See, that's so easy. Nice slotted right there. I don't have to run and go get my wrenches to do it. So when I pulled this all off, there was a bendy piece of metal that held it on to the valve. Was it this? Oh, they're both this. Okay. Wait, I can just replace it. With the new one, which I'll have to do anyway, because the new one has a nice little bend in it to go around the metering jet. Opposed to the old one, which just sort of sat on the edge there. All this contraption, all of this time, and these little springs and valves, all to turn gasoline into mist. And to do it without a computer. That's all this is. You could even sell merch there. You know what? Would people buy RCR merch at a furry convention? I mean, it's easy to just, you know, suck our own dicks and say they would, but would they? Would they really? Okay, now how do I bend this around that? So it clips on there. I think I did it. Did I? Yep, looks like. But I'm now pressing the needle seat in. So I've got to have the needle seat on the end of the float bowl, and it has to go underneath my Springer Spronger. Like that. Drop the needle seat in. And now, big the dogs are beginning to turn my heat on. Not sure what that means. Well, that looks like I'm pushing too hard to get that to seat. If there wasn't an extra spring that I'm missing, because I made the mistake of not taking a picture of everything before I took it apart. You know, I wonder if I have it on upside down. And this should really go top side. Like that, and that'll get me a little bit more room. There's one side. And there's the other side. Okay. Same as before. Drop the needle seat in first. Everything's in. Interesting. Alright, that isn't working. I'm stumped. How did that thing go together? Well, it's time to go to the schematic again. Some wire. Mr. Regular entered his cocoon in the spring and then grew rings. That's just how Pennsylvania do metamorphosis or whatever it's called. Let's find our schematic again. Interesting. The original spring, okay, the service replacement is the number 12. The original spring went all the way around that nut. And the service replacement is just the square one. Fascinating. Wait a minute. There should have been, right. Up here, there is a big screw that holds that on, which I think is this guy. No? Yes. Yes, indeed. Okay, tilt this out, get my weight out. While the ball stays in there, the weight goes inside that, and that snugs down. Ah, yes. Now, did this one have a, did that screw have a washer? Yes, it did. It did. It needs a washer. And now I need to tilt this all upside down, get the weight out, ensure that the check ball is down there, put the weight inside the screw goes in with the washer on top. Tight, but not too tight. So it looks like the service replacement is not the bendy one. It's this one. But this one looks just to be the same size as the other one. We're back here to these clamps. Unless I get this on before. Maybe not. So we're trying the square service replacement. Oh, that looks like it has a little bit more wiggle and a jiggle. So, can we spring this spronger out around the nut jobber? Almost there. Almost there. Nope, it bounced out. Almost there. There's the click we wanted. Okay, our float's back in. Our needle set's back in. Our venturis are back in. All we have is the air cleaner and the four bolts that hold on the top. Which means it's time for the replacement gasket that goes underneath, which is here, which is not that, which is not that, which is that. That's it. Before we do that, we need to get our accelerator pump arm back on. Goes on the inside there. And then I can choose how much pump I want it to dump. Or does it go on upside down? No, it goes on outside. Now I want it to pump a little dumper. I want it to dump a little bit more, you know. It's getting silly, but no, wait, it was on the other way, wasn't it? Yeah, like that. I'm going to reuse the old clip. You know, new ones don't have this double dildo, stupid, dumbass, pat your head, rub your dummy clip. They just have a normal. Yeah, how's this going to one-way itself back in there? Oh, okay. Well, I guess it does work. Nice. So I asked it for a little bit more fuel. Hopefully that's fine. Danny McSay says, is that a carb? Yes. Can you grab dinner on the way home if it's not too much of a burden? Nice. Good one. Grab me, golf clapping. I thought it was pretty funny when Mr. Regular came to my birthday party dressed as my dad, but it wasn't funny when we were still living in the house 3 weeks later. Yeah. Okay, so here's our new top gasket. Goes there. And this guy goes where? Oh, this is my choke, which goes just down yonder into that, right? Yeah. And then it falls out, right? That's supposed to stay in. How did it stay in? Or does it just sit there because it can't move anymore? Gotta make sure I don't crush any of these. I guess we'd put the top, the air cleaner bolt mount first. So a bit out of the loop because I haven't been paying attention to YouTube. Did you find another crazy taxi vehicle? Yes, I did. This is the carburetor for it. And where did this come out of? Where did that little Springer come out of? What did it sprung off of? Oh, that was for the choke lever. Spronger donger goes on the choker donger. Goes on the BDSM. Oh, I'm about to drop it, which means it's about to go away. You know what? We're going to put that aside. I'll find my poking needle. I'm going to get the rest of these bolts on. Lester Fox says, can't wait to see the car. Can't wait to show it to you, too. Evan says RCR's got a griddle model now. Not sure what that is, or maybe I'm not reading it right from this angle. Brian, is that your OC? Yes. Yes, it is. I like this one. I once saw a bird get stork raving mad. I'd like to see a bird pun about the stock market. Maybe you could, like the stork market or something. Evan says that Evan likes it. Glad you like it. I like it too. Dunstan says, what's the OC's name? Well, what's the fun in letting you in on all my secrets? You got to find that one out for yourself. Evan said, meant to say VTuber, but got auto-corrected. Okay. Now I need my clip back on the Springer Spronger. On it goes. Good. So, let's take all the olds. Oh, right. We get a fancy new gasket for the top. Not that this really does anything, but you know, it's nice to have. Nice to say we put it on. So I guess the air cleaner can seal better, I guess. This thing's probably going to rip, because all you do with old cars, the air cleaner goes on, air cleaner comes off. Look, it isn't even the right size. Come on, clip on there. Ah, you can go. It looks like there's one other breather, like right there. Really? You're not gonna play nice, huh? He doesn't want to stretch. My favorite dance is the chicken dance. It's poultry in motion. Nice. Hope you thought of that one and not just Googled bird puns. This gasket doesn't want to go on. So the air cleaner can leak a little bit for all I care. I don't need that gasket anymore. We're saving the one for the Venturis. We need my pokin. My pokin needle goes in the pokin needle box. The old mid gasket and service spronger goes back in the box. The extra service spronger goes there. That's a bit of gasket we don't need. There's nothing in the don't lose it jars. I'm looking forward to going to the gym after this. So we've got our screwdrivers that all go back in the toolbox, the house toolbox. My toenail clippers go back into the toenail clipper place. I got a jar still full of carb cleaner. And really, while I'm here, now that everything's connected, I should really set my choke to cracked open a little bit. Because I was having an issue with this where the choke didn't quite open all the way on this carb, so I'm just going to... Really? Come on. Really? There it is. There. Yeah, it's good like that. The choke is a way to enrichen fuel, but since you can't just suddenly add more fuel, you can't add more fuel, you can only decrease the amount of air coming in. Fuel injection does the opposite. It ups the fuel while keeping the air the same. This is your choke. Normally when your car is cold, it's completely closed, letting the only amount of air that comes in comes through these breather holes. And then as electricity, there's a little electrode heater that goes here, and the little thermostat in this turns and expands on the inside and slowly opens this to bring your air-fuel ratio to the correct amount. And then when you're nice and hot, it's open like that. This thing may not be getting the right amount of electricity. So when I was up to temp on the fuel gauge, this choke was still closed. So you can turn this a little bit and dial in some more open. There's really not much difference between this and this. You're just putzing around. So because your throttle plates down here are not going wide open throttle. The hardest bit of tuning carburetors is like this bit right here between closed and just cracked. When you're wide open throttle, when you hear people say you go wide open throttle, you mean that. Wah! But also, there also should really be a stop on this, or some sort of push that prevents when you close the throttle, it shouldn't snap close and allow itself to snap close. There should be next to a little throttle stop on there with a little spring on it that lets it close softly. Anyway, these guys go back in the toolbox. The house vice grip pliers. The big screwdriver. Don't lose it jars. Needles. Carb cleaner. Jar full of carburetor cleaner. Rise up lights. Carburetor kit. Oh, did this thing have a schematic in here? Look at that. Spent all that time wasting going online. We had the schematics right here. That's funny. Yep, and even this one says bolt goes on, button out. Put a little masking tape on here just to keep everything copacetic. Carburetor kit will probably go back outside. There's nothing more than I want to do right now than to go put this back on the car, make sure it runs. But I'm kind of excited right now and a little bit worn out, and I think I need a break. So maybe I'll put the carburetor back on tomorrow. Also give this room a chance to air out. It really smells like carb cleaner and gasoline now inside. So that's it. Thank you for joining me for CarBIRBrator cleaning, and I guess we'll see you Monday for the new review if I don't decide to do another Brian and you this evening. So thanks for watching, and thanks for liking regular car reviews.